Imagine a day where children are guided and nurtured in a way that honors their unique humanness. A day where, instead of being expected to change in order to fit in, children can be met right where they're at. Welcome to Where They're Planted, a podcast for parents and care providers of unique children. Caring for a child with a developmental, emotional, or behavior challenge, a neurodiverse brain, or difficult early life experiences can be confusing and exhausting. On this podcast, we'll help your child flourish and strengthen their roots by helping you not only understand them, but also gain the skills to help them bloom where they're planted. We'll use brain science, nervous system tools, collaborative strategy sessions, and a deep understanding of the developmental process to create a fertile environment around your child in order to nurture their growth. I am your host, Jen Bluske, an occupational therapist with over 25 years of experience and a parent coach. My most closely held title, however, is that of a single mom of 2 thriving adopted kids, so I have walked this walk. I am truly excited to share, teach, and dive into these important topics on each episode. Welcome back to Where They're Planted. I am recording this episode on the day after Thanksgiving, when many out there may have just been spending a bit of time with family, maybe routines have been off, and gosh, I'm coming to the realization that in a few short weeks, the holidays, in whatever form you celebrate, will be upon us. So today, I want to spend some time talking about being intentional, about creating the memories during the holidays that we intend to as parents and with our kids, and what does that even mean? We'll spend some time just thinking about what that is, how we want to think about the next few weeks here in our time as we get ready for the holidays, and see if we can walk away with some ideas. I remember that when I was a child, that internal sense of shift this time of year. The food is different. The weather, at least in our area in Wisconsin, is moving into a deep cold with shorter days. The house may start looking different or smell different. And somehow my parents appeared more frazzled. And, as an adult and a parent, I realized that just for myself, even this morning, that I woke up kind of on alert of the holiday season with the feeling of like, suddenly I have 10 extra lists running through my head, including like things I'm supposed to do, things I'm supposed to buy, thinking about what I still have to do, people I need to coordinate with, and trying to make sense of it all. And kind of having this sense that it's never going to be good enough. And so I wanted to think about, what do we do as parents to create those lasting memories and positive ones for our kids and our families during that time? What does that even mean? Is it sort of the story in our head, or are the memories something different that we strive to have? I want to think about how we create that sense of stability while still engaging in those transitions and events that feel important to us. Like I started with today, it feels like these next couple of weeks here, this month of December, and even a little bit into January, become just incredibly rushed, and there's just a lot of extra things going on. So how do we find those moments of magical experiences that we're all looking for? I have to break it to you that I'm not sure that I have all the answers here. This has been a work in progress for me over the years as a parent, and I know as a professional, I come to the understanding that each family is going to do it different. However, I do have a few ideas and a few threads of things to think about, a few questions to ask ourselves as we consider how we create those joyful, meaningful moments and support our kids right where they are during this holiday season. When I think about creating these memories during the holidays and what that even means, do we have a specific outcome in mind? Do we have a vision of what a successful holiday season is going to look like for our family or for our kids? And so I want you to just take a minute and think about what that is for you, if you have that in your mind. Do you have sort of the expectation of what might have been for yourself when you were a child? I know, in my home as a child, we went to church on Christmas Eve, and that meant dressing up That meant the excitement. It meant having to sit still for a period of time. It meant sort of corralling my brothers and I into something. And I remember sort of thinking that that's what I was going to do with my kids, that I was going to sort of march through sort of many transitions in the day. And early on, I realized that that outcome was not going to be something that was going to be important to me, marching through a lot of different things. And so, do you have sort of an outcome of spending time with a lot of extended family for a very long period of time? Or is the outcome that your kids will participate in a certain way around a holiday tradition that you have? And so I feel like that is one thing that is vitally important to bring to top of mind for yourself, is what is the outcome? And then if it's not a match for where you are right now in your values as a parent, or if it's not a match for your child. We've talked so much here about our kids and really meeting them where they are. If they have neurodivergence, if they have got sensory differences, if they've got a variety of different developmental stages or challenges, how we meet our kids where they are in order to create success and ultimately in order to create connection. And so I know that as my children moved into their teenage years, I had the outcome that we were going to, spend some time together, and we were going to maybe cook a meal and have a meal and maybe go sledding and do all of these things. And I'm going to be really honest and really vulnerable that we had a couple of really rough holiday seasons because it wasn't a match for where my kids were at for a variety of reasons. There were some pieces going on that wasn't going to be successful. And so I know that in my parenting, letting go of that outcome of having that extended period where we're all together and joyful and smiling and happy might not be something that's an outcome that is reasonable. And so I know that in my ability over about 2 years to readjust what the outcome was, allowed for us to settle and really create some joy during the holiday. And so think for yourself what that outcome is. I realize that for some of us, we are also working with extended family where they may have their own outcomes. And we just did an episode on our support systems and how to hang in there with our support systems, especially if they are on a different page than us. As we settle into this holiday season, settle into what we really want for our kids. As we think about this, what are the traditions that are important to you? Usually there's those couple of things that might feel really important. Be specific. What are the traditions that are very, very important to you? And how can we set the stage to create the success for our kids and for our family and for our connections? If it's that we sit at a meal together for a period of time over the holiday, what can we do to set our kids up for some success? Can we create an easeful morning before the meal without a lot of transition? Can we create a lot of extra movement opportunity for our children before we ask them to sit at a meal where maybe there's different smells than usual, and maybe there's food that they're uncomfortable seeing, and maybe there's a lot of extended family or people or noise? Maybe they're not used to sitting for a meal very often. So this is also a new experience. I think that, again, being really intentional about what the important traditions are in your holiday experience, let's just kind of just let go of the rest of it, right? The rest of it, like I said, I woke up this morning with 10 lists in my head of things I have to do. And really, when it comes down to it, most of it I don't really need to do. Most of it's really not that important to creating a magical, memorable holiday experience in my family system. In that, the other thing I really like to think about is, are the traditions and are the experiences big ones? Right? I referenced a meal. Maybe it's doing something around gifts. Maybe it's, again, doing something around family. But are there some small moments that can create the touch points of memories? I know that I have an experience of, again, as my kids got a little bit older and I needed to sort of really kind of walk the walk to myself around this topic. I had this idea that I was going to spend the whole day with them, and they were teenagers at the time, and they were under the weather, and they slept and they slept and they slept and they slept. And I remember thinking to myself, I really want this time with them. I need this time with them. I had all these things planned with them. And then I sat in the idea that, isn't it amazing that my kids can feel good and comfortable relaxing into this day, and that I had some time to maybe do something I really wanted to do in my very, very, very busy life. So I remember that day. It was a Christmas Eve day for us, and we celebrate Christmas in my home, sitting and doing a puzzle. And as my kids walked down the stairs one after another on that day, just reveling in the idea that they came right over to me and were really excited to see me, and that I didn't need to get them up and wake them up and feel rushed about the things that we quote unquote missed doing. And that we were able within that day to move in and out of connection in a way that created the small moments, right? Created the small moments of peace and small moments of joy within a very relaxed day, which again, most families don't usually get in that way. And so what are those small moments? Is it simply looking outside and seeing the snow? Is it maybe playing a game together that maybe lasts 2 minutes long? I don't know. For some families, that's good enough. Maybe it's having some music on in the background and everybody being able to dance around a little bit. And so when we're thinking about those memories during the holidays, I think that as parents, as we start to let go of the outcome and really think about what we want for tradition, it's boiling it down to the simple things. And really the small moments are moments of connection. How are we connecting with our kids? Can we connect with our kids? Can we let go of all of the other pieces and just connect? Can we connect around their new game or their new toy or their new whatever they might be playing or doing? Can we touch in about some joyful moments that they've had with friends or with experiences? Can we revel in their joy of the little things? The little ones, if you've got the little ones, the 3, 4, 5-year-olds, things can just feel so magical in that age range. That's the developmental stage that those children are in. And just sitting and reveling in that with them and slowing down enough to be present with them can create the memories for the kids. I think that when we're thinking about creating the memories, and I've alluded to it, a few times here already, I don't know, I feel like our best laid plans, right? Our best laid plans often, usually, don't work in the way that we intend, especially when we're working with kids or especially in family systems. And so where can we create flexibility for ourselves? Where can we create flexibility in our thinking? Where can we create flexibility in what it means to have a joyful memory? Sometimes that means, oh gosh, I don't know how many years of the holiday season I spend all week long preparing really, really amazing special food that maybe my kids have asked for, or maybe I'm really excited because we did it as a kid, or whatever it might be. And some years that really worked out and it was amazing and great and did create the memories. And some years I could have made it happen, but it sure wouldn't have been joyful and it sure wouldn't have been a positive memory. And ditching the plan altogether and throwing a frozen pizza in, or ditching the plan altogether and pulling out the leftovers or the bowl of ice cream for dinner or whatever. And knowing that it really wasn't about the special meal. Sure, I was going to have to use up those ingredients sometime. And I remember at first really being frustrated and really feeling, gosh, like somehow I was losing out on time or losing out on memories. If we just were able to do this special thing, then it would be amazing.
And coming to this realization that the flexibility of really tuning into the nervous systems of my kids, our co-regulation in the moment, where the interest and the connection was going, was more important than anything in my ability to have those memories, those joyful memories with the kids, or flexibility of, gosh, we intended to go, maybe outside and do some big activity. And, everybody was just kind of moving super slow. And, do we fight through it and get out the door, or do we not? And opening up the possibility that I could be flexible in what was needed for the day, and flexible with what I considered a success in the season, in the holiday season. I also remember within the moment of flexibility, the idea that sometimes I wasn't going to be able to have the visual aesthetic that I in my head meant creating the memories, right? This is like the perfect, and again, if you celebrate Christmas, is the perfect tree, or if you celebrate another tradition, it's the decorating or the way that you present the home in order to create the memories. And gosh, when my kids are little, it was important to have all of those pieces in place. And I look back now and really think about at what cost to myself, and at what cost, and just the flexibility of, great, if it happens, it happens. And gosh, if it doesn't, it's okay. It's really okay to have that flexible mindset, that curiosity about what's really drawing me today, what's really drawing me to my kids, and what's creating that connection. And so, as you move into the season, I'm just encouraging you to boil it down to the core of what connection points are you hoping to be able to find with your kids and within your family system, and what is the simplest way to access that within your family system. And how within that are you able to bring that regulation within your own body, in your groundedness within yourself, and maybe a little bit of relaxation, right? Can we relax during the holidays? Is that something we can do? Sure it is. Maybe a little bit of peace for ourselves. I do believe that kids who are seeing that in their parents, those are the memories that they're able to hold on to into their adulthood and hopefully replicate with their kids. And so I feel it's really, really, really important to hold on to that for ourselves. Hold on to those slow moments. Can we slow down? Is there a place to slow down, to put some things down physically and emotionally, and in a way that's not clogging up our ability to truly see our kids, to truly experience the joy and the magic of the holiday season in a way that we truly intend to? And so, as I wrap up, I hope that this maybe gives some permission, maybe gives some perspective. Maybe it lets you just think about it a little bit. Like, gosh, what do I actually want in this next couple of weeks? What can I put down? What can I let go of? How can I truly see my child? What are the really important pieces of this holiday season for me and for my kids? What do I hope they really remember about this? It's not about the stuff for the kids. They want us. They want our connection points. They want to see joyful, happy parents, truly joyful, happy parents that are connected and grounded. And so I think I'm going to leave it there for today. Thanks.
Where They're Planted is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Jen Bluske. Music is by Gaston Reen and Pod 5. Thank you for loving your child right where they're planted.